I want to talk a little bit about whether you should use a second shooter for all of your weddings or not. As I always state, this is a very personal choice and personal preference. It all comes down to expectations from your couples and your clients, and what you've communicated to them and what they communicated to you is really important to them. Personally, anytime that I'm doing a wedding with coverage of 6 hours and more, I will always bring a secondary shooter. So I have my second shooter with me. I think that it allows you to maximize the amount of images that you're going to capture during your wedding day, especially when you have things happening simultaneously, whether it be getting ready or family photos and reception table details, people coming in and being greeted. And the couple tells you that it's really important for them to get people, coming into the venue and sitting down while they're getting ready. So you need two things captured at the same time. That's obviously one of the times I'll always recommend having a second shooter. However, I have done many weddings where I covered, full day, 12-hour wedding day all by myself, and it's doable. And absolutely, you will probably save a lot of money in not having to pay a secondary shooter. But I will tell you the many times that I have done this, I do walk away feeling like, I was rushing from one thing to the next because I want to capture everything. I want to make sure that we're getting photos of everything for my couples. But I don't have the ability to be at two places at once, especially in big venues. It becomes a little bit challenging and taxing and can be frustrating, I would say, because you might be running from one area to the next and you're thinking of, okay, I need to get the basic stuff. I don't have a lot of time, so I need to just get the safe shots and move on to the next thing because I don't have somebody else to shoot the next thing and we don't have that much time. I think that limits in your ability to be creative. It sometimes takes away from the moment. Maybe you could have had a way better gallery because you would have had more time to create and explore angles, and you don't feel so rushed because your second shooter is taking care of the other thing. It is a little bit of a give and take. The other thing people think about, okay, well, my prices can be lower if I shoot the wedding by myself. Yes. But what I do recommend is when you talk to your couples, ask them, how important is it to have these moments? How important is it to you that you have another person to, let's say, while you're doing family photos after the ceremony, how important is it to the couple that they have candids of the rest of the guests at cocktail hour having drinks and enjoying, and you shooting the reception area while that's happening, which otherwise you wouldn't have because you're over here doing family formals. So having that communication with a couple, I think, will help you figure out what's best for you. And when you price your packages, price it so that the pricing includes that second shooter. And then maybe you can offer, hey, if they're on a budget and they really want to have you, maybe you can say, okay, maybe we can scrap the second shooter and I'll shoot it by myself. But if you ever say that, make sure that you are very clear with the expectations. So be very clear with what you say about how much you can capture yourself, what it's going to be like, that you really maybe need the coordinator to keep people at the reception table. See if you have to go get those details before people sit down and put their stuff down to keep that. So really communicating what it's going to look like for you to shoot it by yourself. Don't say that it's going to be no different because it is going to be different. You can't be in two places at once. I prefer to use the second shooter because it does allow me to be more creative. It allows me to really shoot the parts of the day that I know I thrive in. And another example, again, family formals. That's something that I set up. I find the spot, I set up the lighting, I get my second shooter ready to go. I give them the list and they run with it. And while that's happening, I will go and capture the beautiful table details. I'll capture all the bar details, all the little things that were set up throughout the wedding day that the bride spent so much time planning and the groom spent so much time planning. I'm going around and getting creative and capturing all these wides and tights and setting the scene for what the cocktail hour looks like, what the reception place looks like, what the venue looks like, getting some candidates of people hanging out, getting some groupings of family and such. So I get to be creative and have fun doing the part that I really, really enjoy. Same goes for when we're doing getting ready. Maybe I want to do a little bit of the bride and a little bit of the groom. So I'll say, okay, I start with the bride. Second shooter goes with the groom, and if I feel like I want to stay here, I'll stay here, and I'll let my second shooter take care of the groom stuff. Otherwise, I'll say, hey, let's switch. So you have a little bit more freedom to be creative with a second shooter. Yes, it costs you a little more, but if you price it properly and include it into your packages, it's not going to hurt you. If anything, it's going to elevate your overall product. You're going to deliver more images. You're going to have more moments that you wouldn't have had without a second shooter. And I think your client experience is going to be greater because at all times, there's always going to be one of the two of you that's going to be next to them available for them. So if they want a photo with a family member, I always tell my couples, turn around and one of us will be there to capture it for you. So I think that is another main reason I like to do second shooters, because it elevates that client experience. Now, all of this, once again, doesn't mean that you cannot do a wedding unless you have two shooters. You can do it single by yourself. I've done a lot of destination 200-person weddings all by myself. It was crazy. I was exhausted and it was a lot of work, but I think it would have been way better of an experience if I had a secondary shooter. In fact, recently I've been bringing even third shooters when the guest count gets over 150 or 100, and I know there's going to be a lot of details and the venue's really large and maybe there's multiple locations. Having that third photographer to maybe focus strictly on details or strictly on guest candidates and guest experience, while the photographer 1 and 2 focus on the couple and everything else. I think it all comes down to what experience you want to deliver on the wedding day, what you want your clients to have as interactions with you, what you want the whole day to feel like for them, what you want your final gallery to look like, how much free time and space to create in your mind. And lastly, I want to touch up one thing is find someone that you can trust. I'm a firm believer in having someone that learns how you like to capture things, how you like to communicate with your clients, how that really understands the way that you approach a wedding day. I don't like and I don't ever just hire a different random photographer every time that I have a wedding. I have 3 or 4 that I rotate through and that I always bring on for wedding days because I know they know how I operate. They know how I like to talk to my clients. They know my client experience. They know the style that I like to shoot in, the lenses, my approach to ceremonies, to getting ready, the lighting that I like. They just really get it. And when you just randomly bring other people on without them knowing your process, it can actually sometimes create more work for you than if you were doing it by yourself. Or it can be the same thing as if you were doing it by yourself, because you maybe don't have that trust built in knowing that you can hand them off something important and that they can handle it, right? I probably wouldn't let first time second shooter handle groom portraits all by themselves and me get none of it and know that I can walk away being at peace, because we haven't built that trust together. Unless it's somebody that I know they killed it and we're friends and they do their own lead shooting and I love their work and I've seen their full galleries, then I'm a little skeptical, right? If it's not someone like that, I'm a little skeptical. So I always recommend, if you have a new person that you never shot with before, you never seen the full galleries, and they don't have a lot of experience in weddings, always make it a point to you yourself get at least 1 or 2 shots of whatever they were tasked to shooting, just in case. They might kill it, but just in case, be safe and get your own as well. So that's why I like using people that are repeats, that are part of my team, because I can trust them. I know that they know how I operate. We've been working together for a few years, and I can have the peace of mind that then I can go and be creative without having to worry about, oh, did they get the group photos that I wanted? Did they get the proper lighting that I wanted? Did they get those reaction shots during the ceremony? I think those are all really important things. I'll give you another tip here when looking for second shooters is if you are in a pinch and you can't find somebody, let's say you get recommendations from people and they're like, here's their Instagram page. Don't just hire people through Instagram pages, because Instagram pages can be very deceiving. I've had multiple times where I brought people on to shoot with me. Instagram page looks great. I sit down, download their card, and I'm like, maybe 5% of this are keepers and usable. Always ask for full galleries. So whenever you're hiring someone on, tell them to send you at least 2 or 3 full galleries so you can see if the work and style match. You don't have to be like, I need to vet you to make sure you're good enough. Like, never approach with that attitude, because that's not okay. That's not kind. You can say, hey, I just want to make sure our styles match. I just want to make sure that our approach to capturing the wedding day is aligned. So I would love to see some of your full gallery work so I can make sure that we're going to be a good fit, and that will give you a little peek behind the Instagram window as to what the skill set is. Personally, I always support second shooters. Are they necessary? I think yes, especially if you're doing full day luxury weddings. I think that if you're doing, anything that's 6 hours and above, 8 hours, 12 hours, having a secondary shooter is going to allow you to get way better galleries, to provide a way better experience. Can it be done with just one shooter? Absolutely. You can do it. If you want to be, a solo shooter, weddings, going wild, running about and getting it done, more power to you. I love it. I've done it plenty, and I just rather have somebody there that I can, task the stuff I don't want to spend too much time on, because I want to really focus on the stuff that I had a vision and that I want to deliver for my couples that they said was really important. Hope that was helpful. It cleared it up a little bit. If you are going to include a second shooter, make sure you price accordingly. And I would definitely not recommend saying like, we can take away the shooter unless they ask for it. So don't list that on your pricing guide. That's something that you can bring up during conversation if they're really needing to make some cuts here and there. But I think that most of the times people, when they're educated on why a second shooter is important, they will value it, and they will in fact ask you to bring a second shooter because it is so worth it. I think it's absolutely worth it for the couple and for yourself and for your business. We'll see you on the next one. I'm out.